Again, Anil, thank you very much, Anil, and the group for inviting me again for presenting this. Just talking about in continuation to my earlier topic about Hindu identity crisis. So we just thought, we will discuss about how to protect and defend the Hindu Asta, basically Hindu faith and Hindu belief system. Um, so a lot of discussions that are happening and a lot of things are happening across the world today, and especially in Bharat, where the aggression of the other faiths have increased significantly over the last few decades, and then that calls for us Hindus to stand up and then take a note of it and then see what we should do. So I'm basically the last time I shared the slide, and I'm repeating this because it's a context here also. Very quickly, I will pass this. Basically, I am basically a learner, observer, and seeker, and I'm sharing my life experiences as a concerned Hindu citizen. So I'm no expert. I'm just learning every day. Um, so in the context of this, just to revisit what we discussed the last time, uh, being Brahmin, where you put yourself in the center, what do you do and how do you act? How do you present yourself as a Brahmin, a Hindu, and a human being is what we discussed the last time. And then this context is relevant here in this topic also. And I'll quickly move on to the next one. So basically, the challenges that the Hindu faith, Hindu Asta faces today, I've just put together very high level thoughts from where we are facing the challenges and issues, and probably the fights and other things, and what are those things, right? So basically, from the outsiders, as you can see, it is from outsiders, meaning it is Islam and Christianity mainly, and insiders, which are who are more dangerous than the outsiders, and this is where the most of the problems are. And I will elaborate a little bit on that. And third category is basically the Jaichans kind of people who are extremely selfish and motivated anti-nationals. They are the third category. Second and third can be clubbed together, but basically they are people from our inside own society. So basically, people who talk about liberalism at the drop of the hat, and the secularism, who do not know the true meaning of what is liberalism and secularism, and then keep talking about it, harping about it, without understanding what are those things. And Jaitans are those traitors, and we have seen across the history of Bharat, whether from the Islamic invasion or British invasion, or even before that, even within the kingdoms that Bharat had so many kingdoms, and within that, there are quite a few traitors among ourselves. So those are the set of category of people from where or groups or societies where we are facing the challenges. Um, what are those challenges? What are those issues? Are basically the caste system. They keep harping about Hindus within the Hindus that there is a caste. People make fun of, especially the Islam's Muslims make fun of our idol worship. And there's also this new thing that is coming from these liberals, or what we call the woke people, that upper caste people are rich and poor people are from the lower caste, and there is a huge inequality, right? So these are the issues. So basically, caste system, untouchability, superstitions, idol worship, and then there is a inequality of the wealth. That is the four or five main categories of. There are other challenges also, but I just picked up a few topmost ones. Given these, what do you think? What we should do as a society, as a group, is what we need to look at. So first and the foremost, I keep saying this. What we do within the four walls of our house is our own private thing, and what we do outside of that in the community. Okay, so as let's say Brahmins, whether it is Madhwa Brahmins or whatever Matha we follow, or Shankar Matha or Vishishtadvaita, whatever we follow, it is the community. And what we do outside is the Hindu. So I think we need to look at the society as a whole as Hindu. So ಫಾರ್ ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್, ಈಗ ನಮ್ಮ ಮನೆಯೊಳಗೆ ನಾವು ಭಕ್ರಿ ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು, ಅಥವಾ ನೀವು ಚಪಾತಿ ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು, ಏನ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು, ಅಥವಾ ನಾವು ನಮ್ಮ ಮನೆ ದೇವರು ನರಸಿಂಹ ದೇವ್ರು ಇರ್ಬೋದು, ನಮ್ಮ ಮತ್ತೆ ಮನೆ ದೇವರು ವೆಂಕಟೇಶ್ ದೇವ್ರು ಇರ್ಬೋದು. ಸೊ ಐ ಮೀನ್ these are very very private what we do within our house. And the outside of that is a community. For example, Chatur Masya ಮುಳುಂದ್ ಮಠದ ಮುಂಬೈ ಎಲ್ಲ ಆಯ್ತು. So there are so many people who visited and then who were part of that community. And that is all again still semi private. But what we do outside of that is the Hindu, where we need to take a stand. Again, I am no expert on this, on the solutions that we talked about. I'm just highlighting what we could do. So basically, I think we need to highlight the difference between what is the Varna system and caste system. So if you look at the originality of original description of the Varna system, that did not distinguish, or they did not degrade, or they did not call upper caste and lower caste. So Varna system basically was based on the occupation of the people, and it was not by birth. It was by the person who chose and who became whatever they wanted to become. So, for example, if you look at Krishna Paramatma, so he's a Yadav, right? So Golru. So for us, he's God, right? Sri Ram Devru is a Kshatriya. We worship him, right? So there are a lot of things like that where Brahmins go out and then they salute the other kind of people. So we need to distinguish between the Varna system and caste system. So people who keep on talking about caste system, I think we need to tell them very clearly that caste system came somewhere in the medieval period. It is not the original Sanatana Dharma part. Untouchability. So in the current system, I do not see there is any untouchability in the outside world. So this is, I'm talking about outside of private, semi-private, and public domain. In the public domain, I do not see any untouchability. Nobody says, don't touch me or something like that. So there is no untouchability exists. So people who talk about it, make sure that you go very strong against such kind of things. Temples of all faiths and castes. So I was just doing a little bit of research and study. There are thousands and thousands of temples in India that are managed by non-Brahmins. So non-Brahmins also, temples also there. So if they want to construct their own temples, there are there, right? So there are Brahmins temples, there are temples who are managed by Brahmins, but there are temples who are managed by non-Brahmins also. So I talked about it. What do we do inside the four walls of our home and this community for us? Outside, we are all the one. See, we don't criticize Hindus we do not go out and criticize we don't do an exclusivist or supremacist attitude, right? Namdod Shrestha, Nave great on Tendu Hedula, Yargo Hedula. So, but somebody talks ill of our religion. Now, Nambagi Ket Matadu, Hindu Bagi Ket Mardundra, we should stand up. This is extremely, extremely important. ನಾವು ಮಾಡೋದಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ನಾವು ಸುಮ್ಮನೆ ಕೂತ್ಕೊಂಡು ಬೇರೆಯವ್ರು ನಮ್ಮ ಮೇಲೆ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಓಕೆ, ನೋ ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್, ನಾವು ಹಿಂಗೆ ಇದೀವಿ ಅಂತ. ನೋ, ದಟ್ ಇಸ್ ನಾಟ್ ರೈಟ್. ಸೊ ವಿ ಶುಡ್ ಬೇಸಿಕಲಿ stand up and then give them a right answer, response. Dharmo Rakshati Rakshita, everybody knows this. Peace, love, camaraderie are two-way street, not one-sided. So num side in the one the peace, love, adalla ashte alla. I mean, it should be both ways. So ಈಗ ಗಾಂಧಿ ಹೇಳಿದ್ದಲ್ಲ, it is no longer valid. Okay, ಒಂದು ಕಪಾಳ ಕೊಡಿದ್ರೆ ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಕೆನೆ ತೋರಿಸು ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ, no, that's no longer valid. It doesn't work, right? So you will not show the other cheek, you will slap him back, right? So that is how it should be in terms of the responses. So basically, differences in fighting in other religions. So our responses should be both in terms of intellectual and then physical, not resorting to physical, but street this thing. So just to highlight, for people who do not know, this is very important. What are the differences and infighting the other sex? So now in Martin, we go back foot, right? We become apologetic for all the issues that I talked about. For example, ಇದನ್ನೆಲ್ಲ ಹೇಳಿದಾಗ ಕೆಲವೊಂದ್ಸರಿ ನಾವು ಸುಸ್ತು ಹೊಡ್ಬಿಡ್ತೀವಿ. I mean, caste system ಅದ, ಹೌದು, untouchability ಅದ, superstitions ಅದ, ideal worship. So, but you should also know that Christianity, they have almost about 250 sects, different sects of Christianity. Okay, I've just highlighted few of them: Catholicism, Protestantism. Adrindana, there are 40,000 groups, different groups. 250 sects are. So whoever people talk about, Christians ittu antandre, you should give it back to them. You yourself have tons of issues and fights in between, infights between Christians. So don't talk about Hindus, right? There are a lot of controversies. Christianity ಒಳಗೆ ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ, I mean, you should do some study and research. For example, Spanish Inquisition. I mean, it was one of the worst kind of Christian atrocities that happened. Mary Magdalene, there is a lot of controversies about Mary, who's on one side they say is mother of Jesus, on other side they say she is wife of Jesus. So there are, and one of the foremost disciple ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ. So there are a lot of issues. ಸೊ ಡ ವಿಂಚಿ ಕೋಡ್ ಅದ ಫಿಲ್ಮ್ ಬಂದಿತ್ತು. ಡ್ಯಾನ್ ಬ್ರೌನ್ ಅಂತ ಒಬ್ಬ ಆಥರ್ ಇದಾನ, ಅವ್ನ ಬುಕ್ಸ್ ಓದ್ಬೇಕು. ಸೊ ಹಿ ಟಾಕ್ಸ್ ಲಾಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಅಬೌಟ್ ಕ್ರಿಶ್ಚಿಯಾನಿಟಿ ಇಶ್ಯೂಸ್. ಇಸ್ಲಾಂ ಬಂತು ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ, ಸೊ ದೆರ್ ಆರ್ ಬೇಸಿಕ್ಲಿ ದೆರ್ ಆರ್ ಲಾಟ್ಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಸ್ಕೂಲ್ಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಥಾಟ್ ಇಸ್ಲಾಂ ಒಳಗೆ ನೀವು ತಗೊಂಡು ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ, ಅಟ್ ದ ಹೈಯೆಸ್ಟ್ ಲೆವೆಲ್ ಕುರಾನ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಹದೀತ್ ಅಂತದ. ಸೊ ಅಕಾರ್ಡಿಂಗ್ ಟು ಹದೀತ್, ಮೊಹಮ್ಮದ್ ಪ್ರಾಫಿಟ್ ಅವ್ನು ಹೇಳಿ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರು ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ, ದೆರ್ ಆರ್ 73 ಸೆಕ್ಟ್ಸ್ ಇನ್ ಇಸ್ಲಾಂ. 73 ಡಿಫ್ರೆಂಟ್ ವೆರೈಟಿ. ನಮ್ದು ಇದ್ದದ್ದು 4 ವರ್ಣ, 4 ಕ್ಯಾಸ್ಟ್, ಇವನ್ ಇಫ್ ಯು ವಾಂಟ್ ಟು ಟೇಕ್ ದಟ್. ಬಟ್ ಅವ್ರದ್ದು 73 ಸೆಕ್ಟ್ಸ್ ಅದ. 73 sects ಒಳಗೆ what prophet says is only one sect will go to heaven. 72 sects will go to hell ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ Muhammad prophet himself has said, right? So if you see that down below the hierarchical chart, ಅಷ್ಟೊಂದು divisions ಅದ. Okay, ಅವ್ರು ಹೊಡೆದಾಡ್ ಸಾಯ್ತಾರೆ. I mean, you know globally they have been fighting forever, right? Since the inception of Islam they have been fighting. So what I'm trying to say is, by ನಾವೇ ಕಾಲ್ ತೆರ್ಕೊಂಡು ನಾವು ಯಾರಿಗೂ ಎಲ್ಲೂ ಹೋಗಿ ಜಗಳ ಮಾಡೋದಿಲ್ಲ. ಬಟ್ ನಮ್ಮ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಬಂದಾಗ ನಾವು ವಿ ಶುಡ್ ಬಿ ವೆರಿ ವೆರಿ ಕೇರ್ಫುಲ್, ರೈಟ್? ಸೊ ಅಂಡ್ ವಿ ಶುಡ್ ಗಿವ್ ದಮ್ ಅ ಪ್ರಾಪರ್ ರೆಸ್ಪಾನ್ಸ್, ಬೋತ್ ಆಸ್ ಎ ಸೆಡ್ ಸ್ಟ್ರೀಟ್ ಲೆವೆಲ್ ರೆಸ್ಪಾನ್ಸ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಆಲ್ಸೋ ಇಂಟೆಲೆಕ್ಚುಯಲ್ ರೆಸ್ಪಾನ್ಸ್. ಒಂದು ಲಾಸ್ಟ್ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ ಹೇಳ್ಬಿಡ್ತೀನಿ, ಆಮೇಲೆ ದೆನ್ ಐ ವಿಲ್ ಓಪನ್ ಅಪ್ ಫಾರ್ ಡಿಸ್ಕಷನ್ ಆರ್ ಕ್ಲೋಷರ್. ಯಾಕಂದ್ರೆ 45 ಮಿನಿಟ್ಸ್, 15 ಮಿನಿಟ್ಸ್ ಆಯ್ತು. ಬಿ ವೆರಿ ಕೇರ್ಫುಲ್ ಅಬೌಟ್ ದೀಸ್ ಇನ್ಸೈಡರ್ಸ್, ರೈಟ್? ನಮ್ಮಲ್ಲಿ ಸೋ ಮೆನಿ, ಐ ಕೀಪ್ ಕಾಲಿಂಗ್ ದಮ್ ಲಿಬರ್ಟಾರ್ಡ್ಸ್ ಅಂತ, ಲಿಬರಲ್ ಟಾರ್ಡ್ ಅಂತ. ಐ ಮೀನ್ ಬೇಸಿಕಲಿ ದೇ ಲಿಬರ್ಟಾರ್ಡ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ, ಐ ಮೀನ್ ದೇ ಥಿಂಕ್ ದೆಮ್ಸೆಲ್ಸ್ ಆರ್ ವೆರಿ ಲಿಬರಲ್ಸ್. ಫಾರ್ ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್, ನಮ್ಮ ಕನ್ನಡದಾಗ ರಗಡ್ ಮಂದಿ ಇದಾರೆ. ಐ ಮೀನ್ ಯು ಆರ್ ಅನಂತ್ ಮೂರ್ತಿ ತಗೊಂಡ್ರ ರೈಟು, ಗಿರೀಶ್ ಕಾರ್ನಾಡು, ಅಂಡ್ ನಾವು ರಾಮಚಂದ್ರ ಗುಹಾ, ದೀಸ್ ಪೀಪಲ್ ಹೂ ಥಿಂಕ್ ದೆಮ್ಸೆಲ್ಸ್ ಆಫ್ ವೆರಿ ವೆರಿ ಹೈ. ಸಿ, ನೀವು ಏನ್ ಫೇತ್ ಇಟ್ಕೋತೀರಿ, ಯು ಕೀಪ್ ಇಟ್ ಟು ಯೋರ್ ಸೆಲ್ಫ್. You don't have to ridicule. So these are people who are extremely dangerous, much more dangerous than outsiders. So ಇಂಥವ್ರನ್ನ ಕೌಂಟರ್ ಮಾಡೋದು, it is our our responsibility and onus to make sure that we counter such people. Even now, ನಮ್ಮ ವೇರಿಯಸ್ ಗ್ರೂಪ್ಸ್ ಒಳಗೂ ನಮ್ಮಲ್ಲೂ ಬಹಳ ಮಂದಿ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ. ಓಕೆ, ಹಿಂದೂಗಳನ್ನ ತುಳಿಯೋದು, ಅವ್ರದ್ದು ಇದನ್ನ ಇದು ಮಾಡೋದು, ಗೇಲಿ ಮಾಡೋದು. ಬಟ್ ಅದನ್ನ ಬೇರೆಯವ್ರ ಕಂಡ್ರೆ ಓಹೋ ದೇ ಆರ್ ವೆರಿ ಗುಡ್ ಹ್ಯಾಂಗ್. So this keep in mind, we should we should make sure that we should not stop responding vociferously to insiders ಇಂಥವ್ರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ. So in various forms, last time ಮಾತಾಡಿದಾಗ ನಾನು have given what are the various forms that you can discuss and how you can respond and what you should respond ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ. But I am willing to spend some more time later on. But my highlight is only for identifying those insiders who are much more dangerous and respond to them both intellectually and on the street, right? So that's very important. So this is summarizing. We have challenges from these people, and what are the typical things that they show us, they point a finger at us. These are the things. Please do a research. Again, you keep your own studies and you can keep your own this thing. ನಾನು ಹೇಳಿನಿ. So, but do your research and counter them on each one of them, right? So, whatever I have shown. And also remember, there are tons and tons of different castes and issues, differences, different schools of thought, sects, both in Christianity and Islam. We don't have to be apologetic. We don't have to go to the background. Nammal caste system of the hanging. Don't get into defensive mode. This is what it is there in the other sects also. So with that, Anil, I will close quick session. So if there is anything that you want me to tell or discuss, you can do that.
Yeah, I have just two, three inputs. Other people also can jump in. My thoughts is this: the Varna Shrama has been misinterpreted, for a long time.
Mm.
That's a I can see those things as a Brahmins as a researcher, or more of a teacher, or the Kshatriyas as a administrators, and the Vaishyas as a businessmen, and Shudras as a more of a service oriented people. So if anybody, we have to these terminologies we should put in maybe this is a time where we should put in a different language. We should use it. That's it. Means we should use all these. I told, right, the researcher, the teacher, administrator, a protector, defense people, businessmen, and the service. See, we have to open up them as like anybody, the born, any Hindu born, he can choose either of these four streams of his interest, his capability, his attitude, his his behavior, his
Capability
likings.
skills, yeah.
So on that basis, yeah, they can choose it. So that will definitely over the period it will going to help him to complete the his work or his activity, his wherever he's involved, right? His activity, he will be happy while doing it. He will be involved into that, and there is a job satisfaction, and there is a completeness into that whatever the activity he does it. So that is one thing we should start putting in a different terms, the same varnashramas. I think Purna Pramati has came up with a very nice document on that. That's a one thing. Second, um, uh, the see we the Sanskrit Bharati, like from the RSS, they have started Sanskrit Bharati, where they give the Sanskrit teaching to everybody, most of the people, anybody, any caste, anything, so it will be helpful for them to understand at least basic Sanskrit Subhashitas. So Sanskrit Subhashitas, if anybody, if they learn, right, they can understand the Vedic philosophy, or what exactly Vedas were telling, or what the Hindu culture and what the Hindu attitude, or what exactly Hindus are trying to say. So at least the Sanskrit Bharati is, RSS Wings is doing it very fine, and we should push it as much as possible, so that it may be a Shudra, it may be anybody, any caste, anybody, so they can understand the Vedic culture better, Vedic intentions, they can they can understand better. Because yeah, if you see 100, 200, 300 years back also, there is no what you call permissions are needed to access the knowledge. There may be a some blockers may be there for to read it, but for the knowledge sake, everybody can used to access it. Even Shudras are very good, very good knowledge people, some 100,000 years back. So over the period, something is happened where even Parashurama has said many times that one of the Varnas will too much, they will dignify, they will expect too much respect, and they will do atrocities. So that is a times, timely it used to happen. Now it's a time that everybody should have a very good knowledge, and they should follow their own interest and the capabilities, or in their own work. That's one thing. Madi or Shaucha has been also too much exaggerated, and that's simply a hygiene. We should use a hygiene as a word rather than anything else. Physical hygiene, or psychological, emotional hygiene, or intellectual hygiene. So if you see these hygienes as a if we look at whatever the Vedas, or the rituals which we follow, all that is related to all these three things. Then if we use newer terms, then people can understand better our Vedic culture. That's what I can say. These are my three inputs, so anybody can else also
So I have one
add.
learning actually, which I will put in action from tomorrow onwards, is to ask people some questions about like why these countries are fighting within each other when they have same religion, everything and all. Assuming that if if they attack on us or we attack on us, maybe there is a religion or these kind of issues, right? But when they are of the same religion, same faith and everything, why they are fighting, why they are putting bomb on each other, why they are killing each other? So that this is the open-ended question. Let them think about it. So this thought process will trigger them like really understanding why they fight internally. So then whatever Katis are told, maybe they will try to research on that or understand on that. So those kind of things may we can put on action. So I will try to do that. Whoever in casually whenever we are talking with others, just simply ask a question like as if surprised why this Israel and Gaza fights each other, kind of these kind of things.
Correct. Anil, whatever you said, ನೀವು ಹೇಳಿದ್ದು correct, but what you talked about are intellectual discussions and intellectual
Hygiene.
ಇದು but the other part is I think the street wise, and then I'm not talking about the physical altercations, but for some people we'll have to get down to street level discussions. So ಇದು so ಅದನ್ನು ಮನಸ್ಸಲ್ಲಿ ಇಟ್ಕೋಬೇಕು. For example, if somebody ಯಾಕಂದ್ರೆ ಇದೆಲ್ಲ ಏನಾದ್ರೆ
We should,
ನೀವು
you are saying we should simplify the these Vedic concepts more in a simplified versions, like the layman can understand it. That's what
no
you
that
want
is
to say.
no that is I'm still saying people who are open minded. See, people ನಾನು
ಹ್ಮ್
ತಿಳ್ಕೋಬೇಕು, ನಾನು ಅನಿಲ್ ಹತ್ರ ಬರ್ತೀನಿ, ಯು ಪ್ಲೀಸ್ ಟೀಚ್ ಮೀ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ನಾನು ಓಪನ್ ಮೈಂಡ್ ಇತ್ತು ಅಂದ್ರೆ, ಸೊ ದೆನ್ ಐ ವಿಲ್ ವಾಟ್ ಯು ಆರ್ ಸೇಯಿಂಗ್ ಇಸ್ ರೈಟ್. ಬಟ್ ಪೀಪಲ್ ಹೂ ಆರ್ ಸುಮ್ಮನೆ ಉಂಗ್ಲಿ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರಲ್ಲ ಹಂಗೆ, ಸೊ ಯು ಜಸ್ಟ್ ಫಿಂಗರ್ ಔಟ್ ಈಗ ಬೋತ್ ಫಾರ್ ದಿ ಪೀಪಲ್ ಹೂ ಆರ್ ಲೈಕ್ ಐ ಸೆಡ್ ಇನ್ಸೈಡರ್ಸ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಔಟ್ಸೈಡರ್ಸ್ ಸುಮ್ಮನೆ ಉಂಗ್ಲಿ ಮಾಡೋದು ಅದನ್ನ ಎಸ್ಪೆಷಲಿ ಇಫ್ ಯು ಗೆಟ್ ಆನ್ ಟು ಎಕ್ಸ್ ಆರ್ ಟ್ವಿಟರ್, you will see unnecessarily they keep fingering. ಈಗ ನಮ್ ಗ್ರೂಪ್ ಒಳಗೆ ರಗಡ ಮಂದಿ ಇರ್ತಾರೆ, ಸೊ ದೇ ಕೀಪ್ ರಿಡಿಕ್ಯೂಲಿಂಗ್. ಫಾರ್ ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್ ಐ ಆಮ್ ಟಾಕಿಂಗ್ ಅಬೌಟ್ ಪೀಪಲ್ ಲೈಕ್ ಲೆಟ್ಸ್ ಸೇ ಯು ಆರ್ ಅನಂತಮೂರ್ತಿ, ಗಿರೀಶ್ ಕಾರ್ನಾಡ್ ಇಬ್ರು ಇಲ್ಲ ಈಗ, ಬಟ್ ರಾಮಚಂದ್ರ ಗುಹಾ, ದರ್ ಇಸ್ ಅ ಗೈ ಕಾಲ್ಡ್, ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಿರಬೇಕು, ಈಸ್ ಆಥರ್, ಹಿಸ್ಟಾರಿಯನ್, ಹಿ
They
ಕಾಲ್ಸ್
are all
ಹಿಮ್ಸೆಲ್ಫ್
paid
ಹಿಸ್ಟಾರಿಯನ್.
writer.
Exactly. ಅಂಥವ್ರಿಗೆಲ್ಲ there is a different level of response. So that's what I'm saying. The discussions that you talked about are people who are open-minded, and there could be many people from the other religion who are open-minded. And I have seen quite a few people, for example, Christians agli, Muslims agli, they ಬಂದು ಕೇಳ್ಕೋತಾರಕ್ಕೆ ಅಂಡರ್ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೋತಾರ. But there are people who are amongst ourselves who are much more dangerous.
Yes. This Swaminathan, who is writes in Weekly Times of India, right? Now, if you see the Shobha Days, today's Shobha Days article, so much changed, in because it's all 10 years of Modi government, right? So these people's language and the English language has been changed. Swaminathan's,
Correct.
even Shobha Days, because these are the paid. Now they are forced to support the main Hindu streams. Now today's Shobha Days, she's talking such a very simple stuffs rather than like secularism or nothing.
Correct.
So on the street, what's happening, she is telling. So their language is getting changed.
Correct.
That's a one good thing. Yeah. But Girish Karnad, yeah, you are these are all Western. They have been paid continuously to create such a ecosystem.
Correct.
Yeah. So yeah,
so
as
only
you
one
said,
thing, Anil, ಒಂದೇ ಒಂದು I had told earlier also. I think somewhere even we can do a study. I think there should be probably a longer discussion around Varna system. ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ little somebody who can go a little bit deeper. ನೀವು ಹೇಳಿದ್ದು ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್, ನಾ ಹೇಳಿದ್ದು, I mean, see this conversion of or transformation of the Varna system into caste system came in the medieval period, right? This was pushed by Britishers. Britishers push ಮಾಡಿ ಅವರು, this was their one of the main divide and conquer strategy. Okay. ಸೊ ಅದನ್ನ ನಾವು ಅರ್ಥ ಮಾಡ್ಕೋಬೇಕು. ಬಟ್ ಸಂಬಡಿ ಅದೊಂದು, ಎರಡನೇದು ಮನುಸ್ಮೃತಿ. ಸೊ ಇವೆರಡು ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಸ್ಮೃತಿಗಳ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ನಮ್ ತಿಳಿದವರು ಯಾರಾದ್ರು ನಮ್ ಗ್ರೂಪ್ ಒಳಗೆ ಯಾರಾದ್ರೂ ಇದ್ದು ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ, ನಾಟ್ as
I will forward the document. Recently, Pune Pamiti, scholars have been prepared a document. Definitely, I will update here.
Sure.
And as Madhav said, right? So we should talk about also those, Islamic or Christian their own issues also,
Exactly.
means their own hierarchy or differences. Though, means these differences were there in every geography. Unnecessarily we have been, Hindus have
Geography within their own
differences between
within their own religion, within their own
yeah,
customs, there are tons of differences. Okay, you no one
yes,
can. In fact, you should read the Dan Brown books or watch the movies. Dan Brown book
actually this the hierarchy and the differences, right? Bhinna Jivagana Hare Anuchara is there. What Madhwa has said, that this is Anadi, and Ananta. It will be there.
Correct.
So we have to gracefully accept it, and we should understand our own capabilities, what is our strengths and weaknesses, and where we have to look at, and where for the sadhana or moksha or any activity or in laukika activities, where I should push from that perspective. But the basically Bhinna Jivagana Hare has to be accepted gracefully. That is where we should put it.
But
Otherwise, these unnecessarily social justice, equality, they wokeism, all these unnecessarily they are pushing. This
the only thing that Anil, I would want to reiterate again, whatever you talked about is absolutely right. But the forum, the audience for such discussion is different from protecting the Hindu asta is different. Okay, that is what I want to see. For example, almost all the people who are part of this group, we can discuss the Madhva philosophy, the Advaita philosophy, the differences, Vishishta Advaita philosophy. Even, for example, Shruti versus Smruti, and how the four Vedas came into picture, and all those things. They are a very high intellectual discussions.
yes.
But that is where I'm saying I'm making a distinction between self, privacy, private, semi-private, and public. Public ಒಳಗ Hindus ಒಳಗ ನೀವು caste ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಮಾತಾಡಬೇಡಿ. We don't have a caste system. Okay, it is a varna system. It is based on for example, if you take any corporate or any this thing, even if you take college ತಗೊಂಡ್ರ lecturer ಇರ್ತಾರ, senior lecturers ಇರ್ತಾರ, assistant professors ಇರ್ತಾರ. So they're all degradation. I mean, they're all gradations, right?
ಈಗ ಈಗ ನಮ್ಮ ಹಿಂದೂಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ತುಂಬಾ ಜನ ನಾನ್ ವೆಜ್ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ. ಅವರು ನಾನ್ ವೆಜ್ ತಿನ್ನೋರು ಅವ್ರದೊಂದು ವ್ರತ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ, ಸೋಮವಾರ ಅಥವಾ ಮಂಗಳವಾರ ವ್ರತ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ.
Exactly.
ಅಂದ್ರೆ ವಿ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ದೀಸ್ ರೂಲ್ಸ್ ಟು ಕಂಟೈನ್ ಆಸ್ ಮಚ್ ಆಸ್ ಪಾಸಿಬಲ್ ಟು ಅವರ್ ಓನ್ ವಿಕಾರ ಏನನ್ನ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ, ಅಥವಾ ತೀರಾ ಉದ್ರೇಕವಾದಂತ ನಮ್ಮ ಭಾವನೆಗಳು ಬರಬಾರ್ದು, ವಿಚಾರಗಳು ಬರಬಾರ್ದು ಅಂತ ಅವರು ಫಾಲೋ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ, ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಕೆಲವೊಂದು ನಿಯಮಗಳನ್ನ. ಇದು ಇಫ್ ಯು ಸಿ ಆಸ್ ಎ ಹಿಂದೂ, ವಿ ಶುಡ್ ಟೆಲ್ ದಿಸ್ ಟು ದ ಹಿಂದೂ brothers. That's main thing. If you see their agenda, the population through they want to follow their religion, and their population through they want to spread it. This is their agenda. And capitalism use ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡು telling the something different god ಬಗ್ಗೆ ರಿಲೇಟೆಡ್ ಅಂತ, ಅದು ಒಂದು ಬ್ಲೈಂಡ್ ಬಿಲೀಫ್ ನ ಮಿಸ್ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ದು ಕ್ಯಾಪಿಟಲಿಸಂ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡು. ಈ ತರದ ವಿಷಯಗಳನ್ನ ನಾವು ಹಿಂದೂ ಬ್ರದರ್ಸ್ ಗೆ ವಿ ಶುಡ್ ಟೆಲ್ ದೆಮ್ and compare how it is good Hindu things are, right? Like ಈ ತರದ್ದು ಕೆಲವೊಂದು ರಿಚುವಲ್ಸ್, ಲೋಕಲೈಸ್ಡ್ ಇರುವಂತಹ ರಿಚುವಲ್ಸ್ ಏನಿದೆ, ಕಾಂತಾರ ಇರಬಹುದು, ಏನೇ ಬೇರೆ ಬೇರೆ ವಿಷಯಗಳು ಇರಬಹುದು, ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಅವುಗಳನ್ನ ನಾವು ಲೋಕಲೈಸ್ ನ ಹೈಲೈಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕು. ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಕಂಪೇರಿಟಿವ್ ಒಂದು ಐಡಿಯಾ ಕೊಡ್ಬೇಕು ಹಿಂದೂ ಬ್ರದರ್ಸ್.